Okay, I'm going to complete now the Module 2 discussions, and the first one talked about some of the formal and informal assessments that that were discussed in the textbook and that I plan on using for my child that I am tutoring. And the things that that I've noticed so far since I've been assessing her is that she struggles with decoding words and fluency. So her comprehension was great. And I noticed that when I gave her the word list, she struggled with some of the word list, but then she was able to read on that list that was a frustrational. She read on that, so the comprehension was there. So she really truly understands meaning, but I feel like her decoding and fluency is what's keeping her from progressing in her reading. So what I am in the process of doing, and that I read about was in chapter 4, is that there is it's curriculum based, and it's when you measure over and over, and it's the letter sound fluency test. And that is something that I'm going to work with her because I feel like she really struggles in her letter sounds, the CVC, the vowel sounds, long and short. Sometimes she'll read through the word and not do the ending sound, or change the ending sound, or she'll miss the beginning sound. So those are some things that we will work on as well. Also, there will be word reading fluency tests that I will do. And it had mentioned that Diebels was a good resource to use, and that's something that I do use in my classroom, and their passages, so that she's supposed to be able by the end of the second grade read 120 words per minute. So we will work on a goal to make sure that we can get as close to that as possible. And then another thing that I use in my classroom and I will use with her is we do spelling inventory, which is with words their way. And I give them a list of spelling words, and we detect on where, in what part of spelling she needs help with. And is it decoding, blends, short vowels, and hers was, I want to say, blends or digraphs. And so that's an area which is also phonics that we'll work on. Tara West is the grammar and phonics program that we use here in our classroom. And so that's another thing that we practice and use, is the phonics part of it. And in our grade is second grade, we use the second grade curriculum, but I have taken the first grade curriculum to help her apply the areas that she has struggled with. So those are just some curriculum-based and test assessments that I will use with my student during this case study. And also we use MAPS, which was mentioned in chapter 3 testing, and that is where the students are based with, they test on fluency and phonemic awareness, and it also helps figure out exactly where they are struggling at. So that is another data-based program that I can take her scores from and see exactly and pinpoint, and it also gives me activities that I can use for those areas. And then to answer the second question, the factors that might help or that might involve reading and writing difficulties that I've noticed is a lot of maybe poverty at home or in the family, and that's maybe things that have been sent home that parents might not be able to read completely, or if we send home surveys and questionnaires to figure out backgrounds, parents sometimes might feel more comfortable to write things down and feel more open, but then some parents might struggle with that. So sometimes orally it's good to have parents come in and explain to them instead of papers sent home or forms sent home. And then also just especially when kids are taking tests, I mean, it's the same thing with them. Some students might do well with written tests, but then some students might struggle and need to be assessed orally because that's an area that they're stronger in. These are just some areas that I've noticed in reading and writing, especially writing, because writing you do have to write what your thoughts and things are down on paper, and sometimes kids just really struggle in that area, and a lot of it comes from maybe the background that they grew up, maybe dialect at home was different, and parents were not educated. Those are some issues that you can see that come when they bring into the classroom that will affect their reading ability or their writing ability. And so it's our job to make sure that we can give them and provide them with the education that they need. So sometimes some of my students might have to be pulled in small group for to be tested orally or to explain some things to me instead of it having been written on paper. Of course, you know, we have to differentiate and make sure that we meet the kids' needs that need to be met. And but those are some things that I read in the book and saw that were some difficulties that I have, and I read and saw and compared it to what I'm doing, and I think that's about it.